All right, the time is now 4:02, and as Earth, Wind, and Fire sings its last chorus, we want to go ahead and get started with the meeting. I'd like to start by thanking everyone for pressing pause in their day and joining us for this very important meeting. I'd also like for our staff members who are present to come off mute and say hello to everyone. So I know we're all dying for a student and family interaction. So I want to share this moment with you if I could.
Hi, everybody. This is Ms. Usselman. I'm Margaret Usselman. I'm one of the social studies teachers here. Currently, this semester, I have 10th graders for U.S. history, and next semester, I'll have 9th graders for modern world.
She's the bomb social studies teacher, in case you need to know.
Hello, everyone. I am Casey Hurd. I am the Director of School Culture. I'm super excited for you all to be here and to engage in this conversation.
Hi, I'm Bill Atwell, and I manage the technology and communications. I'm also today's DJ.
Atwell, Thugs and Harmony, DJ. Yes. So let's get started. I want to remind everyone what our commitments are. Our commitments are all about keeping our children safe, making sure that we maintain, as to the extent that we can, a flexible environment where we're able to pivot and change direction when we need to, but always working toward our goal of making sure that our scholars are learning and are preparing for college. That is still what is on deck in classrooms right now. And our physical spaces in the school, we are, of course, right now 100% virtual, but over the summer, we started actually in the spring, we started really looking at what it would take to come back for face-to-face instruction once it became clear that we weren't going to be able to return to normal. And we've made the following changes to our physical spaces. We've got different physical barriers. If you've been to the main office, you'll notice that there's glass separating the main office and the waiting area. Their floor adhesives are being put on the floors to show when students return where 6 feet separation should be. There's safety signage throughout the building. Like many schools, we will not be using our bubblers for refreshments. Students will be allowed to bring their own water bottle. And there are sanitation stations that have been added outside of every single classroom, and standing sanitation stations that are in the common areas. We've removed furniture and we've reconfigured workspaces. So some of our classrooms have the walls are coming down and the classrooms have been joined together to make for larger spaces. We have not yet transformed the room behind the main office into an isolation room, but once we have a date of return, we will be transforming that space into 2 or 3 isolation cubbies. So all that dinging is, I'm hoping, lots of people joining the call. I'm really excited that people are coming out for this. So in terms of a healthy environment, in order, if we were to reopen, or when we reopen, our communal spaces will have staggered use and increased cleaning protocols. Those increased cleaning protocols are already in place. Mr. Joe, Ms. Bonner are here throughout the day, cleaning all day long, high touch areas for the 5 employees who are coming into the building. Touchless restroom is now a norm for our students and our teacher bathrooms. They're touchless sinks and urinals. Hand hygiene, again, teaching and reinforcement of how to wash your hands, when to wash your hands, how frequently to wash your hands, modified building layouts. All of our cleansers and disinfectants are COVID approved, and we have invested in supplies so students don't have to share computers or calculators. Our day-to-day operations have also changed, including the addition of face coverings or masks to uniforms. We have limited visitors to essential visitors only. That means people who are providing services to students, like a physical therapist or an occupational therapist, speech therapist, that type of thing. Entrances and exits are now, there's more a specific procedure for entering and exiting the building each day. We are anticipating the winter sports of basketball, particularly, will resume. And if we resume, we are likely to resume. It has to follow the sports teams have to follow the HFCA reopening criteria and the Wisconsin Interscholastic um, Athletic Association Health and Safety Plan. Some high level things that are on that plan include regular health screenings, wearing a face coverings, having limited spectators at games and events, no sharing of drinks or towels, and of course, having a health clearance. There will continue to be an academic eligibility criteria. I wanted to make sure that everyone understood that given, even though there's a pandemic, our expectation for excellence hasn't changed. Technology, as you know, we've made sure that everyone has a Chromebook and hotspot at home. And there's been a special emphasis on making sure that digital citizenship is being emphasized. Okay. Let's see, reopening criteria. Now, this is what you've all been waiting for, I'm sure. This is the criteria that we're using to decide if or when we reopen. So we will reopen when community spread is, quote, under control. And how is under control defined? It is defined as the Milwaukee Health Department reports a trend in percent positive cases are below 5% or less for 14 consecutive days. 100% of Milwaukee hospitals are not in crisis care. 2,000 tests per day are being performed, or the percent positive is below 5%. Milwaukee or Wisconsin Health Services show a downward trajectory of positive cases. And the city of Milwaukee has entered stage 5 of the Milwaukee Forward Plan. Now, right now, I believe only one of these criteria is green. The rest are not green. The rest are not being met. And so we are not reopening at this time. We will come back to the table to talk about reopening in 45 days, which would be the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. That's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Now, I do have to note that colleges are actually expecting that students, when they come home for Thanksgiving, will stay home until after Christmas, because they recognize that there'll be significantly more community spread as families from all over the country come together to celebrate the holidays. So we need to take all of that into consideration. Now, I also wanted to share with you some of the data that we're using to make this call. The first is the positive cases by zip code. 53216 is the school's zip code. And as you'll notice, when we started tracking the percent positive or number of positive cases in the summer, July to be exact, there were 495. As of last week, there were 923. And I think that trend is pretty consistent in all zip codes. If you look at the aldermanic districts at the same time, Khalif Rainey, we're in the 7th aldermanic district. There have been 1,060 cases, 28 deaths. So if I always quantify numbers by classroom. So like 28 is the size of a classroom. So a classroom full of folks have died just in this district alone. So I want to pause right there and go back to this reopening criteria and see if anyone has any questions before I move on.
Miss Parker.
Yes, ma'am.
So with the sports,
Mhm.
because my son plays basketball, the face coverings, would they have to be worn while they're playing basketball? Is that what you're saying? Or just like the spectators have to wear the face covering?
Well, I haven't gone through the WIAA's, well, I went through it yesterday, and I'm going through a training right now on COVID and sports for administrators. It's like 5 modules. I'm only on the second module because I only found out about this resource yesterday. But from what I understand, is that in basketball, students have to wear it if athletes have to wear it if they're on the sidelines, if they're going to or leaving the game, if they're waiting for a ride, a pickup, like they're very specific. I did not see them wearing it during the game,
Okay.
but it could be there, and I just haven't read it yet. So I want to preface it with that.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm. In the our health and safety plan is available on the website, and I believe linked to that. If it's not, like if the link doesn't pop up, email me and I'll send it to you. I will send you the WIAA's health and safety plan that describe all of the different scenarios for each sport because they have a different health and safety plan for each sport. Any other
I just put a link to the health and safety plan in the chat, Ms. Parker.
Okay, thank you. Everyone hear that? There's a link to the health and safety plan in the chart, in the chat. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on. So here are the key performance indicators that I mentioned. This is as of October 8th. And you can find this chart by going to the Milwaukee Health Department's COVID website. Now, if and when we return, we would still have to do social distancing until there is a vaccine. And so the vaccine, like we're hearing all kinds of things from December, it'll start, but everyone won't get it till next summer, late next summer, early winter. There's so many different things. But nonetheless, here's what our reality would be if we were to go into face-to-face instruction. First of all, our schedule would change a little bit. The Monday that our students are engaged in asynchronous personalized learning would move to Wednesday. And the reason for that is we'd want to separate the 2 cohorts of students. So Mondays and Tuesdays, 9th and 10th graders would come 9th grade in the morning, 10th grade in the afternoon. And the reason for that is the size of the class and the number of classrooms that we have that can support social distancing. So we've removed walls between 4 classrooms. So we've got 4 classrooms that can hold up to 28 to 30 students, depending on which classroom it is. And I'll share that with you in a second. However, I'm going to be just a second. Yep. However, what was I going to say? Oh, we would need some students to opt into staying virtual so that there would be maybe 24, 25 students in the class, or fewer than that, just a bit fewer than that, and maybe 7 to 10 are choosing to stay at home. Those students would be able to access instruction through a webcam, and students, like I said, would be here either in the morning or the afternoon. Breakfast and lunch would be served as grab and go. And then classrooms would be cleaned in between the 2 groups. Meanwhile, let's say on Mondays and Tuesdays, while 9th and 10th are coming to school, 11 and 12 would follow their same virtual learning schedule the way that they do now. Wednesday, we'd have a deep clean in the building, and students would have an asynchronous day of learning. Then Thursday and Friday, seniors would come first in the morning, and then juniors would come in the afternoon. Now, I am going to share with you some pieces from our health and safety plan, if I can.
Noonie, AJ and Tuka, start getting that room clean now.
Okay, so now I'm going to share something that you can also look at very closely, the classroom capacity and the diagram of the school. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you. I've got a couple students on the call, so if you're like Duntavius and you're familiar with what used to be Mr. McCann and Ms. Musselman's room, 39 and 40, that wall has been brought down and that classroom has been made one. So anywhere on this diagram where you see two numbers divided by a slash, that means the rooms have been joined by the removal of a wall. Room 100 used to be 100, 101. That's its own room. Room 16 and 17 have been joined. 32 and 33 have been joined. That was the Spanish classroom and the seminar class. And then what used to be Miss Amoruso's room, 29, 28, that's always been big enough for everybody, and that's there. So we've got 4 to 5 classrooms that we can have class in that would accommodate a class of 30 students. But we won't have 30 students in the class because we want to make sure we're super safe. And here, which is, like I said, this is in the health and safety plan. Here's the classroom number, the normal occupancy, what the social distance occupancy is, and then what the occupancy is for the 25 to 50% capacity after renovations. So again, room 16 and 17 have been combined for a new capacity of 25. Room 100 and 101 combined for a new capacity of 40. Room 39 and 40 combined for a new capacity of 25. And room 32 and 33 combined for a new capacity of 25. So this is what the capacity would look like. And again, this would be an AM or PM schedule. So all freshmen would come to school at one time, all sophomores, all seniors. They all have about 4 classes that they rotate through. And so that's what they would do, is rotate through those classes, or depending on the community spread, if it were a little spicier, then the students would stay put and the teachers would rotate. All right, so I'm going to pause there. Does anyone have any questions?
So, well, because I just joined, so are you guys in high school?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said, so are you guys considering opening back up for face-to-face? Because I just joined, so I didn't catch the beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, so right now we are not considering opening up for face-to-face until we meet a specific criteria. And I'm going to put the criteria back up so everybody can see it.
Okay.
But we would come back and have a conversation the Tuesday after Thanksgiving to see where Milwaukee was in terms of it being safe enough to reopen.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other questions?
So if they do open up schools again, do you think it'll go to like freshmen and sophomores go one day and then juniors and seniors will go another day?
Yeah,
Or
so according to this schedule that I'm showing you right now, Ninth grade would go in the morning from 9 to noon on Monday and Tuesday. 10th grade would go in the afternoon on Monday and Tuesday from 1 to 4. Seniors would go on Thursdays and Friday from 9 to noon, and 11th grade would go from 1 to 4 on Thursday and Friday. Now, when they aren't in face-to-face, they would still have access to their teachers through the live classes that they have now.
I was gonna ask that. So if it's some parents who are just totally against the face-to-face, would the students be allowed to just continue to virtual learn?
Yes, they would. There are a couple of other factors that are discouraging in terms of returning to face-to-face. The first is that the Milwaukee County transportation system, the buses, are only allowing 15 people on at a time. Nearly 80% of our students, commute by bus every day. And so we're on the bus stop, especially in the afternoons, every day. And
Ms. Parker, I think you're muted.
all right. So I was saying that one of the things that's discouraging us from a return to face-to-face is
I can't answer my question.
Okay, go ahead, ask your question. Go ahead, did you have a question?
I want to know. All that noise.
Is there more, are you logged in more than one place?
Turn it off.
Why don't we just try using the chat to ask our question?
Yeah, we can do that too. If you want to ask the question in the chat, you can ask the question in the chat. Otherwise, if you want to ask your question, please feel free to ask the question. But like I was saying, the bus system is only allowing 15 students, 15 people on the bus at one time. And so our students will be standing on corners in the snow, in the cold, the rain, waiting for an opportunity to get on the bus. So that's one thing. The other thing we're learning from other schools is how much time they are spending managing contact tracing and managing like containment of the virus. Which means that they're not able to spend time making sure that school is a great place and that learning is happening. I find that particularly discouraging because right now our coaches are in every single classroom every single day, providing our teachers with instructional support and how to get better every day. And that's something that we would have to sacrifice if we were to come back, because I would definitely need them to help manage this entire process. The other thing is that we know that coming to school for a couple of hours and then getting home adds another layer of complexity to a student's schedule and may not necessarily be the smoothest arrangement. So we worry about that. We also worry about students coming to school who have not yet identified that they either live with someone who's tested positive or have been exposed to the virus in some way, and therefore putting everyone at risk. Or maybe they don't know because the networks are so big.
I heard them, but I can't see them. I don't know what's going on. I want to see.
Go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead, ask your question. Do you want to ask your question?
Miss Parker, while we wait for that parent, you have two questions in the chat box.
Can
I don't
you
know if
read
you
them
saw
for
those.
me? Because I can't see them.
Sure. So Miss Nisi said that's my question as well about the transportation. Miss Joan Locke said, how can you social distance 28 students in a classroom? And then it's another one from Miss Nisi. She said, even though I work from home, I don't have time to drop her off in the morning. Pickup is no problem.
Right. Yeah, and I know that we have a number of students who are dropped off and picked up, but most of our kids take the bus. I don't think that there's a way to socially distance any number of people inside of a classroom when you're talking about walls that are people are rebreathing the same air. But according to the guidelines that we've been given by the CDC, we can use square footage to determine, like, as long as every person is 6 feet apart, we're able to socially distance that way. But we have combined classrooms, taken walls down to make larger classrooms, which also helps with the circulation to accommodate that. That is not our ideal situation because it would limit how, this is in my head, this is what I'm imagining. Some kids are able to get to school on time, some kids aren't because of the bus situation. Some kids are having a hard time remembering what day of the week it is and do I come to school now or do I come to school later? I think it just throws layers of complexity into the mix that no one needs right now. But that's
Okay,
not.
Miss Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Also, for school reopening, would there also be like temperature checks?
Yes, there are temperature checks and a screening at the door every day. And if you, let me see if I can go back to, let me go back. If you go here into
Miss Parker, is that your phone?
no, it's not my phone. It's not. I only have one. So if you go into the health and safety plan, it has what the protocols are, what the CDC recommends, and what our policies and procedures are. So
Okay, I downloaded the whole plan anyway in my notes, so it's
yeah.
okay.
So
I'll read it
everything
later.
that the CDC recommends, you'll see our procedure for it. Also, what's in this plan is a guideline around whether you should self-quarantine or if you should return to school. So again, the description of the exposure to COVID and what you have to do to return to school. So that's laid out in there for you. We tried to make that.
Okay,
Mhm.
so when the kids say like a child has to quarantine, are
Right.
they going to be excused for those days because now they have to self quarantine for 14 days?
So they would still be able to access instruction virtually if they're up to it. Like if they're asymptomatic and they feel fine, then we would expect them to attend class virtually as usual. If they're
Okay,
not well, it would be treated like any other excused illness.
so then it would count against their attendance.
Yeah, it's always like an absence is an absence.
Okay,
But we aren't, I think we all have, and colleges and everyone is adapted a more reasonable understanding of absences. We don't want sick children coming to school. We don't want sick employees coming to work. It's really important, especially that this virus takes advantage of people who have compromised immune systems or who are ill in some way. Um, we want people to take care of themselves.
okay.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else in the chat? This is my first time using Zoom, and I am having a heck of a time.
That's all the
No,
questions.
there's nothing else in there.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Rogers, for your assistance. I appreciate you.
No problem.
So the next thing I have for everyone is, unless there are more questions, I'm happy to answer those questions. I know it sounds like I have strong opinions about all of this, but those are just my opinions. The decision ultimately is up to our community, and it's up to how you're feeling, how teachers are feeling, how students are feeling about the return to school. I'm going to do whatever y'all tell me to do, bottom line. But we do have to follow the science and the guidelines. So just as soon as that happens, and everything seems like it's back to normal. We can talk again about whether or not we should come back, when and how we should come back. So I'm proposing that the next time we come together to have this conversation would be in about 45 days. And that would be the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes.
You said for a meeting, Ms. Parker?
Yeah, for another meeting to discuss how things are going and
That's
whether or
fine.
not we
Just gotta.
want to look at coming back face to face.
Will it be the 3 different times also? Miss Nisi said yes to.
Yes, always. It will always be, parent meetings will always have 3 different times because I want to make sure I get as many parents' voice involved in this. I did put a form in the chat, which is the survey that lets me know specifically what you're thinking. It is going to be confidential. I just want to know what you think of the scenarios, what you think of the gating criteria, if there was something that you need need to express, something you want to advocate for your child. That survey will allow you to do that. So if you could please complete that survey and let me know what you're thinking, how you're feeling about this topic, I would so appreciate it.
Or we could just call the principal.
Or you could just call the principal. My phone number and my contact information is in every email I send you every week. Or you just ask Miss Rogers. I think she
It
has
was a
it
joke.
all on speed dial.
I think I got it memorized. So
And
you
I
want us
think,
to do this survey now?
yes, please, if you could do the survey now and put